was the only American ever held as a prisoner in the Tower of London? Hi Founder fans, Jason here, and today's founder is Henry Lawrence. Henry Lawrence was a wealthy merchant from South Carolina who was actually in London when the first Continental Congress was meeting. Shortly thereafter, though, he returned to the United States, or soon to be United States, and he became president of South Carolina's Committee of Safety, which was essentially its revolutionary government. By 1777, Lawrence was sent to the Second Continental Congress in Philadelphia, where he became president of that body. And while he was president, the Articles of Confederation were agreed upon, and much like John Hancock did for the Declaration of Independence, Henry Lawrence signed the Articles of Confederation when it was sent out to all the colonies to be approved. So essentially, he was the first, and for a little bit, only signer of the Articles of Confederation. Now, after a year in this office, he was actually chosen as an ambassador to the Netherlands, and he sailed across the ocean and discussed with Netherlands a treaty, and he actually was successfully able to form a treaty of alliance with Netherlands, who, while they were a small country then as now, their banking system was extraordinarily important. They were one of the heads of banking in the world. Now, Henry Lawrence was going to sail back to the United States, but shortly after leaving Netherlands, he was captured. His ship was taken by the British, and he was brought back to London and held as a prisoner in the Tower of London, the only American to ever be held as a prisoner in the Tower of London. Fortunately for Lawrence, the Battle of Yorktown happened, and it seemed like the British were going to lose the war, so they released him. Now, instead of coming all the way back to the United States, he went to Paris, where he met with Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and John Jay, who were negotiating what would be known as the Treaty of Paris that ended the war and officially recognized the United States as a country in the eyes of not only Britain, but in the eyes of the world. Now, he was not an official ambassador from the United States. He never actually got the authority from the Continental Congress, which I do think recently in a video I mentioned off the collar that he had. But just to clear that up, he did not have authority, and he did not sign the Treaty of Paris, but he did sit in on the meetings with the Treaty of Paris because Ben Franklin, Johnny Adams, and John Hancock knew what a bright mind he was and knew how nice it would be to have someone from the South there debating. I mean, the other three guys were from Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and New York. So to have that Southern point of view was definitely something they enjoyed, and he was there when they ratified it and signed the treaty. Of course, he would then come back to the United States, but after this, he retired and pretty much kept to himself, and he passed away just after the Constitution would be ratified a few years later, and President Washington took office. So that's a brief look at the life of Henry Lawrence, who's an amazingly important founder and is often overlooked for his part. Tomorrow I'm going to be back with another video about his son, the more famous John Lawrence, who has a part in the famous Broadway play Hamilton. So please subscribe, definitely hit like if you enjoyed this, but come back tomorrow so we can have that conversation. And thanks to everyone who came yesterday to our live video. They're a lot of fun, and every Wednesday we do a live video at 8:15 Eastern. If you have the opportunity, please feel free to join us. Thank you so much, and I'll be back with John Lawrence tomorrow.